Newton Small, contributor for Time Magazine, Ken Vogel, chief investigative reporter for Politico, and Sharice Date, who's senior political correspondent for the Huffington Post. I want to start with you because you're on top of this. I know you are. Just explain to people who are trying to figure, people on the left, for example, who are scared to death of this guy, what are the three factions fighting for the heart of this new administration?
Yeah, well, all these factions, all these forces were really played a role in the change that we saw today with Chris Christie being replaced as head of the transition team by Mike Pence. We have the family. You mentioned them. Jared Kushner, the son-in-law, married to Ivanka Trump, extremely influential, was very influential actually in getting rid of Corey Lewandowski, the first campaign manager. He had clashed with some of the folks around Christie. Interestingly, Christie had prosecuted Jared Kushner's father years ago, though that, I understand, is not one of the main reasons behind it.
Oh, yeah?
There were also social
It would be with me.
He did have beef.
It would be with me. If somebody tried to knock my father off, I'd say, I remember that.
And we understand
Isn't that the reason we went to the Iraq War? Because W didn't like what Saddam Hussein did to his dad, or tried to do?
They would argue there's some serious policy implications there.
Okay, jump in here, Jay, because I think it's fascinating. Because of course, I think the kids are good in a sense that they care about the long term. That's one thing about children. That's why people in third world countries want their oldest son to replace them, because they're going to look out for them in the long run. So I would clear all those kids have a long. The ideologues scare me. People like Steve Bannon, Steve Bossie, they are hardliners who will use the horse they're on right now to go where they want to go.
Yeah.
Because they've always wanted to go in that hard right direction, so Trump's now their horse. But are they caring about the horse or where they want to go? Your thoughts?
Well, so I think we're going to learn a lot from who he picks as chief of staff. And if it's somebody like Steve Bannon, you know he's going to go.
That's frightening.
Yeah, like really hard against, like the establishment still, right? And that's really the second tier are sort of the guys who came up the campaign with him, the Kellyanne Conways, the Steve Bannons, all those folks. And then the third, and Rudy Giuliani, Chris Christie, all those people who worked for the last year and a half to get him elected. And then the third tier is really the establishment, right? Like everybody else in the Republican Party. And so you see this sort of really fascinating competition between the second tier and the third tier on who's going to be in the cabinet.
Okay. Who's winning? Who's winning?
Like who's winning? Well, we'll see tonight, frankly. I mean, we understand that there could be a chief of staff decision as soon as tonight. And he's choosing, we understand, between Steve Bannon, who does represent that populist wing, and Reince Priebus, who very much represents the establishment.
I'm not his biggest fan, but I got to tell you, a guy like him knows what he's doing. Sharice, let me ask you about something I care about. The one thing I liked about Trump, not the only, some parts of my very mixed bag about some things I detested, obviously. I thought that he was anti-war. I thought he was going to take us back from that crazy neocon world of we have to fight the next. There's always a war in the in basket. Right. There's always a war we want to fight. John Bolton for Secretary of State? That's to throw back everything he suggested to the people who were sick of these wars.
Yeah,
he's a super hawk.
He didn't want to get involved in wars, and yet we got to knock the hell out of ISIS, right? So which is it? I mean, and how do we do that without actually going to Syria in great numbers?
Yeah.
So I look at everything he said during the campaign and now ignore it, because the day before the election, he was saying crooked Hillary, and the night of the election, Secretary Clinton, you've done wonderful work, and thank you for your service. So
what do you think his voters think of that?
They think it's magnificent. That isn't he a wonderful leader now?
Yeah.
But
they signed on to him before he said anything.
I think there will be some who are disappointed by it.
But they seem to like him as a being.
It's true,
you know what I mean?
He's entertaining.
Right.
No, they do have the force field for him was so strong it withstood.
Teflon Don.
Billy Bush, he's out of a job for listening to the guy. But I'm sorry, he was listening to him. And that's what
even today, he was, he basically backtracked on all of his promises to Israel. Right. He's not going to move the embassy. He's not going to rip up the.
Well, let me tell you, I have watched that embassy number since I was born.
Right.
And everybody, when they run, say they're going to move it to Jerusalem, knowing the catastrophe that would create over there. People would be dying. They'd be dying over. I have a view about that whole thing. Some people would die over rocks, but the fighting over there is just outrageous over these symbolic moves. You mess around with the Temple Mount, it's all crazy. Let me ask you about the cabinet. What do you see happening? I mean, we've been hearing Bolton, we've been hearing Rudy Giuliani for Secretary of State, we've been hearing Newt Gingrich for Secretary. Let's just take that one job. It's the most important cabinet position. I think we agree. What do you hear?
Yeah, I mean, certainly all those names are folks who we have heard. I mean, it's
how about reasonable people like
Stephen Hadley?
Stephen Hadley.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's so shocking. You raised the contrast between the non-interventionist rhetoric.
How about Richard Haas? How about the head of the
party? No, these are all like neocons. These are folks who are going to make no, I mean, the other folks who we just talked about, John Bolton, Jeff Sessions, these folks who are being considered for Secretary of Defense. They're traditional Republican hawks.
Okay, you've been great tonight. You've been great. Here we go. Come back and tell me something I don't know. Be right back.
It's time